still like drinking Corona, but after this I'll switch to Bud Light.
Stonecutters! Episode 6! How's every single one of you? We're back. The campaign of keeping and fucking the world is up. And go ahead. That's right. You see how that felt? It felt good. So, thank you so very much for watching every single one of our videos. Thank you for the support that you guys have with like Tale of Two Blinks. You know, Matt Skiba against pretty much Tom DeLonge for Blink 182. Thank you for the rock covers. You know, all the support that you guys have been giving us.
And we have a new channel now. It's Stonecutters TV.
Yeah,
that's to pay for it. It just wasn't used. How lucky am I?
That's right.
Stonecutters TV was a free thing.
That's when you know that like you're gonna go and unfuck the world. That's your little piece of work that you do, and then you keep trying to unfuck the world. So third, what are we here this time? What is the reason that like people brought us back? Is to talk about a band that like is well known for everybody. A lot of people love it.
Very one of the biggest bands of the '90s.
Yes, and for a lot of people, they're considered like soft. Is it limp soft or what?
Well, I hope it's not limp soft. I never want anything to be limp soft, but or Limp Bizkit. Fuck them. But
well, yeah, you hate the Limp Bizkit. Yeah, that's the topic for Stonecutters 8 or 9.
In recent days, they've been getting this label of like a soft and a chick band, which, you know, you can listen to anything you want. We're not throwing that label on there. We're talking about critics and other people. And that's the Goo Goo Dolls.
We're going to be talking about, you know, the Goo Goo Dolls and, you know, the authors of one of the greatest songs in the world. That song is completely ruined for me. I will not go in depth on why is it ruined for me, because why in the right freaking mind you will name somebody's you'll name your daughter as Iris. I will not understand why in the hell you will do that kind of nonsense.
You didn't say that. Tell me you did not just say that.
But anyway, we're going to be talking about...
Song. You love this song so much you name your kids after it.
It seems that way. I don't know why would you have, you know, that kind of idea in your head. Bless your heart or bless your wicked heart.
Bless your wicked heart, nah, 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 nah. I know you mean no harm, baby. Bless your wicked heart.
And that's the topic for Sublime. But let's, you know, switch gears to Goo Goo Dolls.
Right, right.
So third, like the Goo Goo Dolls are like my research and you know experts in this subject. They tell me that like they're originally from Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, they are from Buffalo, and if you know anything about Buffalo, it's like it's not that there's not much going on up there, not much, and they kind of reflected that in their earlier albums. They're another band like the Peppers that we talked about, where everyone thinks they started at Dizzy Up the Girl and on, and they actually started in 1987. Their first debut album came out. It was a punk record. It was all down the line a punk record.
Yeah.
And it's so early in the band's history that it was Robbie who was the lead singer on that album. Johnny did background vocals and some lead. But you know, as albums go, punk rock albums, it didn't really break the mold. I enjoy it for what it is. There's some songs on there. I'm Addicted is a good song. They have a fun song towards the end called "Don't Beat My Ass with a Baseball Bat." I love stuff like that. Like,
and you know, like it was their first try. Like you said, it's like it takes time for a band to like find their own like groove, their own style, their identity. I think that as a person, like it takes sometimes their whole life, and that's what happened with like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, with Blink, and the Goo Goo Dolls in this time. So like the first album was not as great or successful either.
Right, and that carries over to the second album, Jed, is basically the same as the first. It's just a punk rock record, and that's got some great songs. Again, some fun punk songs. Like my favorite song on that album is called "Up Yours," and I think so. You got. I love songs, punk songs like that are fun. Like "Don't Beat My Ass" and then "Up Yours." Some fun stuff on there, and then finally, their third album, is where they get into more alternative college rock type songs.
And that's what like kind of opened the doors for them, right?
Oh,
and that album is "Hold Me Up."
Yes, "Hold Me Up." Again, that's an underappreciated album in my book. I mean, again, it's they didn't have their identity yet, you know, that catapults them to success. Elements of punk rock are still in there, but it's got some of my favorite songs by them. The single "There You Are," that was
"There You Are" is great.
And at
2 days in February.
2 Days in February is actually one of my favorites by them. Everyone goes like, "Oh yeah, Iris, Black Balloon," and I'm like, "Well, there's a song called 2 Days in February I really like." I've never heard of that.
Iris. I'll name my daughter Iris for it. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Anyway, move on.
But you know, that expanded their taste. And again, I'm going to bring this up a lot during this video. A lot of it has to do with Johnny's age, because when he ages, he changes his music.
Yes, Johnny Resnick. For the ones that don't know, the name of the lead singer is Johnny Resnick. So so like this opened the door for college radio, punk scenes, and then I kind of like they incorporated a little bit of heavy metal elements like pop rock, punk rock, and then also like they were able to record, and then they were in the soundtrack of Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, with the song "I'm Awake Now." Yeah, you love horror movies.
And that music video, I've seen it. It's not like the Doc and Dream Warriors where they have Freddy in the video. It's kind of like archived footage and then footage of the Goo Goo Dolls spliced together. But yeah, I mean, it was a commercial step for them. They weren't totally in the scene yet. And then they moved further with the next album, which I love this album, Superstar Car Wash.
Oh yeah, it's an excellent album.
I think it's Falling Down is a great one.
Yes.
We Are the Normal, which is a really good song. So Far Away, which is the third famous So Far Away. There's like 3 songs called So Far Away that are famous. It's hard to keep track.
Avenged Sevenfold is one.
Dane.
Yeah, So Far Away. Oh, U2 has another one, Stay Far Away, So Close. Yes, yeah. So Far Away. So
the one I'm talking about is the Dolls. And I think at this album, I don't know if it was this album or the next one that entered Rob Cavallo as the producer, and he does a bunch of great work for a lot of bands.
It's in the next one.
Okay, so it is a boy named Goo that has Rob Cavallo. But yeah, Superstar Car Wash, again, another step for them. I think it was their first charting album.
Yes, and exactly. That's where I was going to go there. Like, they have their first video with, like, what you said, Falling Down. It was also broadcasted. It was played on MTV's 120 Minutes. So, that's when, like, kind of like the rock, like 1 or 2 a.m., that's when they will play that video. Yep.
And then finally, they get launched into stardom. Not superstardom, but stardom with A Boy Named Goo, which has one of their most famous songs, Name.
What is it? Oh, Name. That's the name of that song, Name.
That's the name of the song. But, and it's in my opinion that if he never wrote that song, Name, I don't think they would have went anywhere.
Yeah, that's the kind of song that, like, opened the doors. Like, that's the song that, like, just, just define the story. It's the beginning and before that song. It's always the before, the after. That's when, like, the Goo Goo Dolls, like, they became somewhat mainstream, you will say. Like, that's when, like, the video was played on MTV, make it into the charts. Everybody, like, they had appearances in Melrose Place, Beverly Hills 90210,
right.
All of that. So that's when, like, they became a name.
You got Flat Top. Flat Top is on there. Long Way Down is on there. Just a bunch of great songs, and it's a good it was a good commercial. How do I word this? A good. They infused a lot of commercial production with the punk rock sound and alternative rock sound of Superstar and Hold Me Up. It's kind of like a polished version of those albums.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like more polished, and also it's more elaborated. It's more, like you said, polished. That's the word. That's the word that, like, came out from this. Not too much punk, but it's a beautiful, sweet ballad. But also has a little bit of, like, guitar, and it has a little bit of power, and the lyric is really, really good.
Yes, but then they shift their musical sound and just go off the charts with this next album, Dizzy Up the Girl, which is
Dizzy Up the Girl.
Even if you're not a fan of the band, somewhere on your iPod is some song from Dizzy Up the Girl.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because like they were in a battle with the record label, because like they actually were saying that the contract that they signed, it was really unfair because they couldn't get any royalties from the sales. Because a boy named Goo, they went on platinum. So like the record label was not letting them to get any royalties from that. So they sued, and then they got a settlement, and actually Warner Brothers, they actually were the ones that helped them with money, and they were able to produce Dizzy Up the Girl. And then, like you said,
it almost never happened because Johnny had writer's block, and it was really bad. He couldn't write a single thing, and then he was he was approached by a producer who said, "Hey, I just did a movie called City of Angels, and I need a song for the soundtrack." And that's when he wrote Iris. And then Iris was the springboard for the rest of the album. He was able to flow ideas out.
Oh yeah. Well, like, and of course, why when they asked like Raznik, why is the song named Iris? Is because of my daughter.
Yeah.
So I guess they hate it first. They hate, yeah. Well, at least I don't hate that because he was the first. But anybody else that will do such like thing is you're a mark. You don't have creativity. You lack of brain cells, and that's why you do that.
Oh yeah.
So it's fine, but Iris becomes
all the
huge.
Other topics. Yeah, all the other songs too, not just Iris. You got Slide, even which is as big as Iris. You got
Talk to me a little bit of Slide though. Talk to me let's about the. There's a lot of themes in that song that not a lot of people like get from the song.
Slide is an abortion debate in a song because she goes, the whole song. It's all there in the lyrics. Like, don't you love the light? Like, it's like you could go one way or it could go other way. And the one way is, don't you love the life you killed? The priest is on the phone. Your father hit the wall, and your mom disowned you.
Yes.
And then he's going, we could either get married, you have the baby,
or run away
because you have an abortion, and your family doesn't want you anymore because they hate you for that. So it's not like she did it or she didn't do it. It's like an internal debate in John's head.
Well, it's like it seems to me like the girlfriend came to him and she goes, so my period didn't come. I don't know what to do. And then in his head, it went with the idea that and then Slide is up. But like, see, if you ask me, I love Slide. That's why. Of course, Iris to me is a little bit overplayed because, of course, the magnitude of the song. If you think about it, that's the second biggest song of 1998. And that song held the movie, and also the movie held the song. So it was like mutual, but like there was only one song that like was able to beat that, and that's Aerosmith, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. From the soundtrack of Armageddon, yes. So like, but a lot of people don't know this, but see, Black Balloon is such a beautiful song.
Oh, I love Black Balloon. That album has so many great songs, and Black Balloon's one of them. That's about an addiction. Addiction.
There's a lot of addiction, like cocaine and drugs and that. But like, see, that's a beautiful song. Broadway is another great one.
Yeah, very deep song about a father-son relationship that isn't too loving.
Yes.
And you can see it in the lyrics. Like I said earlier, his music changes with his age. So when he's in his early 20s, late 20s, his music's very raucous. It's very carelessness within the lyrics. I'm not saying the lyrics are bad. I'm saying the themes are carelessness. Like, I'm still a kid. I'm still in my 20s. And then you get to his late 20s and 30s, which is, Boy Named Goo and
Dizzy Up the Girl.
Dizzy Up the Girl is, you get these lyrics that are more, here's how I'm dealing with my fame. Here's how I'm dealing with, the temptations of life. Here's how I'm dealing with relationships with my family and girlfriends. So, I'm going to say it a lot more times in the video. Whenever he ages, you can see it in his music.
But
and hear it in the song.
You could say that that's normal though. Not many for a lot of artists, for a lot of writers. But you reflect how you feel at that moment, and then you put it in the songs.
Well, some bands like Green Day are still writing songs that are fun. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's true though. That not everybody can be like Billy Joe,
Yeah.
Not Billy Joel for the ones that like to say that, but like Billy Joel still has like some fun. But in the case of like Resnick, he didn't have that. But then there are like a lot of Grammy nominations, like the Google Dolls go. Well, now we can say they're mainstream, they're big. So now they, of course, then they get the curse there, the curse that we always talk about. When you have a massive album, were you able to live up to the expectations, or did you fall out of misery? So the Google Dolls come out with like what I learned about Ego, Opinion, Art, and Commerce.
Right. That was an EP, right?
Yeah, that was an EP. That didn't do too well. But
It was just something to put out because the record company's probably like, you had this big album, you got a bunch of fans waiting for new, and they're just like, just put out a bunch of songs on an EP. It happens all the time. I don't really judge EPs as studio works. I will throw in real quick. Then they did a live album live in Buffalo, which has one of my favorite live performances when they do Iris and it starts to rain. So it's pouring rain on him and he's singing his heart out. I think that's the only way that song can be played is in the rain.
Oh yeah. Well, not just saying Iris is such a beautiful lyric also, That's how you should feel about any person that you absolutely love. Whatever you say in those lyrics is how you should translate into actions. But third, then what continues the Goo Goo Dolls is Gutter Flower in 2002.
Yeah, and I don't think they crashed and burned to any extent, because Gutter Flower was huge too because of Big Machine and
Sympathy, and also like Anna, won't you tell
Here
me,
Is Gone,
ex-daddy.
Here Is Gone, Sympathy, and Big Machine. Those lyrics were big enough to, keep them up here.
Not number one, but it's still, in the main spots of the top 10 in the charts. And the sound didn't change too much. It was still, pop, kind of like alternative, but going more into pop rather than keep it more rock. And
I think here is where they get their labels as, they're not a rock band. They're not, they write songs for girls. It's a chick band. It's, same 4-chord stuff. And, the people that say that are justified, because a lot of the songs on this album, you listen to Gutter Flower and you go, this should just be played at a high school prom. Every song's a ballad. You can dance to some and then you can slow dance to some. You know what I mean?
It could be like Sway My Way. So something like that, right? It will be just a song worthy of a prom. Something about that. But see, third, also, they had a studio version. They did a cover on Give Me a Little Bit. Give me a little bit of your by Supertramp. So I really like that song though, and it's really well played. It has a lot of airtime. And I knew it was the Goo Goo Dolls because the voice of Resnick is just nobody has that type of voice.
His voice is pretty distinct, and when he sings, it's him. Whether you like his voice or not, that he's singing.
Yes. But, then walk me through the years go by, a few tours. Yeah, like you said, the Goo Goo Dolls still remain as a unit. Of course, they switch drummers. They have the one that they've been having since '98, and Dizzy Up the Girl, and then they go to 2006 with Let Love In.
Yes.
So Let Love In. Your thoughts on that? There, what do you like it? I think it's a decent album.
It's decent, but again, it continues that Gutter Flower sound, but it's not Gutter Flower. It doesn't have the same. I don't know. I think at this point Johnny was in his late 30s, maybe early 40s, and he had met somebody, and it seemed like every song is about love bound, and it doesn't really change it up in any way. Although I do like the song Better Days. I think that's a really good song. Better
Days is good. Stay With You is really good. Let Love In is really good. So about all 3 songs. You were saying you're trying to date somebody, or you just met somebody that you're in love with. So, like you said, Johnny probably, again, he's pretty much, even you gotta ask how he's doing to see what the theme of the album is gonna be, because I don't
like in your life at this point. That's what that's what we know is gonna be on the next album then.
Yes.
But I think they bounced back a little bit with 2010 Something for the Rest of Us, because it's the same lyrically, it's the same. but they change it up instrumentally. They bring back more of the guitar. They infuse a lot of modern production, and I like that.
Oh yeah, that's a better album.
I like the song "Home," but again, it's at this point of his life, he's writing songs about how he wants to be at home with his girl. And then the song "Not Broken," that's a song about two people writing letters to each other during a war. So his lyrics now are very serious. They're not, back in the day he's writing songs about running away with a girl who got an abortion. Now it's, I want to come home to you and only you. And, it's very obvious where his songwriting is at this point.
Yeah, but for example, I do think that they kind of got labeled. They were just labeled as a band that always love songs. Like, you don't see evolution, you don't see them going to extremes, trying to be a little different. They just stay in one genre, and that's what
right.
They didn't like to go out of that.
Right, and I think it was like that for Gutter Flower up until Something for the Rest of Us, because I do think they finally get somewhere with Magnetic.
Oh yeah,
as Caught in the Storm, Rebel Beat, Come to Me, and Come to Me. Maybe it wasn't that big at the time it came out, but everyone loves that song.
That's a beautiful song, and a lot of people get married with that song.
Yeah.
It became the perfect song for a wedding. And even Resnick, I remember, because now we're going to touch upon something that when you saw them, and then when I saw them in 2013, and I think that's when Magnetic just came out, so they were supporting, this tour was to support that album. They went with Matchbox 20, so those two bands have the same style, not too rock, but the good perfect alternative, ballad, so the chicks can love it, and the boys that want a chick can identify with it, and then therefore they like the band.
Hey baby, are you one of the ones who does it? Keep them coming.
So when he was talking about Come to Me, he was saying, well, I got married. When I got married, I just wrote this song. That's pretty much my vows to my wife.
Well, I want to add that when I saw them in 2016, 3 years later, he said, before I play this next song, I want to say, I get people coming up to me all the time saying, I want this as my wedding song. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Well, no, tell me the whole story, though. It's a great story because, the third was almost dead, and legit dead, not coronavirus dead, but, legit dead. Tell me that whole memory of you.
I get a lot of pretty complicated migraines sometimes, and they get really bad. And this one in particular, this one day, I had a Goo Goo Dolls concert later that night, and I had a really bad migraine that at a certain point, I said, I have to go to the hospital. And even in the hospital, I still was not feeling well. And then hours went by, they gave me a lot of medicine, they gave me a lot of fluids, and I saw what time it was getting to, and I was like, oh crap, I was kind of unhooking my IVs, and so the nurse was like, what are you doing? I was like, I got a Goo Goo Dolls concert in a few hours, I gotta go, I gotta get downtown. And my dad was in there with me, and he was like, yeah, if that's what he wants to do, you just gotta let him go.
and then you saw the Goo Goo Dolls, though, and it turned out to be a great show.
It was fine, because I had been medicated, and I still had my hospital wristband on.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was legit.
And see, now that you just mentioned this about Magnetic, do you see an evolution on there? Correct? We know that it was a better album.
It's very modern production. I think that's it. I think they did a good job taking their sound and putting modern production in.
Yeah,
that's my.
And see, they go on tour every summer, so they're a band that people want to see. And again, it's a feel good band. Maybe they don't
all the time.
Maybe they don't like
how old the band is. They sell out every time.
But maybe they don't like that label. But they sell out all the time. And see, that was the question that I want to tell you. You will see that also Raznick's voice. His voice has kind of gone a little bad, or you will say that it's still as good as it was.
It's not as good as it was back in the day, but it's still, his sound is still there. The impression is still there. So I still know it's him singing. He's just got to make some adjustments when he sings in a different key.
You want to get mad or run away? Yeah, he kind of had to like.
And I don't want the world to see me.
Yeah, they gotta like lower it down a little bit, but like see, like but the Goo Goo Dolls like stay as a group. They're still pretty successful, and like I said, you can go to any store, you can go to any radio, they play their songs.
Oh yeah,
all of them. Black Balloon is played, Slide is played, Here Is Gone, all of them. So like, tell me, like, let's talk about some of the last albums that they have.
Boxes, yeah, that's the next one.
Boxes, yeah. Like the sound. Like, not bad.
I really like Boxes. I really do. I think it's a good album for where they were at when they wrote it. Because he's approaching, he was approaching 50. A lot of songs in there kind of that reflect that. He's kind of talking, what's going to happen in 20 years? With me and my wife. What's going to happen when I'm old? What's going on right now. There's song like So Alive. Yes, they have a song in there which is a good song called So Alive, where that's basically the point of the song. He's getting up to age 50, but he's still saying, look, I still got it. You know what I mean?
I still want to go out and rock, and that's what they were going to do, because every summer they go on tour, and they put on a great show. I did like them when I saw them, and see, you saw them 3 years later than that, and you loved it. So like you can see like the consistency of the band live. They're pretty good,
and musically it's a fresh album. It sounds like any other modern rock band. If you played it to somebody who didn't know who this band was, they'd be like, oh, this is this new band, it sounds really good. Oh no, this is the Goo Goo Dolls.
No, it's like, what? Yeah, because but see, like, just to like kind of wrap this up there, like, let me know, you will think that like they will never able though to duplicate the success of like Dizzy Up the Girl. No. There was never a sequel for Iris. There was never a sequel for like that level of, again, like, of harmony that they got with Dizzy Up the Girl. For me, yeah, like Come With Me is the closest. I would say Come With Me is the closest. Like the closest song that like came as huge as that. But other than that,
about it in every episode, almost every episode, there's these bands that have an album where it's their peak and it's everybody's together, everyone's cohesive, the creativity's at an all-time high. You record that, you write it down, you put it out, and everyone loves it. It has mass appeal. But you can't really do that again, because it seems like every album you try and do after that is trying to be that album. Which happened with Blink with Self-Titled, it happened with Chili Peppers with Californication. And like, Goo Goo Dolls had an album that came out last fall called Miracle Pill. And is it good? Yeah. Is it a continuation of Boxes? Yes. Is it a continuation of all their other works? Yeah. You can hear all their trademark sounds in it, but it's just not at that level of Dizzy.
Yeah, and see, like, but okay, so like, again, should they be labeled as a girls rock band, or like should they deserve like the name of be a rock band, a truly rock band for like anybody? I think that like in my case, yeah, I think that like their sound is pretty good. And see, if we could say about Matchbox 20, we could say the same thing about Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah, because they have, well, the thing Matchbox 20 has that Goo Goo Dolls doesn't is Rob Thomas. And he's so universal as a songwriter that everybody loves him. Whereas Goo Goo Dolls, their songs were always, at least after Dizzy Up the Girl, were always love songs. So people, that were just getting into them as they were getting famous, all they heard by them were love ballads. But I think, as two people who know their entire catalog, I think they should be universally considered a rock band. I think they're a rock band. All around, across the board. And I think that some of their music, especially Iris, that's one of the most well-known songs of the past 20-some years.
In the whole world, yeah?
Any playlist you put on, any 90s playlist, there's not one without Iris on it.
Yes.
Any 90s station plays it. Any 90s playlist you see, it's always going to have Iris in it.
If you work at Wawa, they will play it 20 times every single shift. Yes,
Exactly.
you know, or they will play like at least one Goo Goo Dolls song per day. Because if it's not Iris, it will be Black Balloon, it will be Slide, it will be Name, it will be Come to Me, it will be also Give Me a Little Bit. So like they're like a pretty feel-good band, but I would say it's rock. Like you said, it's not Rob Thomas, I Don't Want to Be Lonely no more, but is a rock band. Because like lyrics are potent, and like they had to change the style a little bit to become more popular, but hey, they found their group.
And like I said, that's a personal thing that John has. It's not that he wants to create a new sound so that he can sell records, because obviously the commercial sound that they do in recent years, it's not their best selling record, so he's not doing it to sell. He's doing it because in his head he thinks, all right, when I was 20s I did punk, when I was early 30s I did the alternative thing, now I want to do the music that matches how I'm feeling right now.
Yes.
Now you got the lyrics now are get me to the church on time. The lyrics in the 90s were you want to have an abortion,
And like you said, like so to wrap this up, I want to say our Stonecutters, our people that are watching this, like he went through phases. Okay, I want to be a punk rocker, done. I want to be a family man, done. I want to fall in love again, done. And I mean that's pretty plausible. I wouldn't say And if they go on tour once again, I will go and see them because it's just good music, and good music lasts over time. Is everlasting. So. Yep, and this wraps it up for today. Thank you so very much for watching. If you have any topic that you want us to talk about, put it in the comments right there. Don't forget, like the third said, subscribe, right?
Watch, damn it.
Watch, damn it. We'll be with you guys next week with more Stonecutters TV. So until then.
Keep it real, homies.